VR Chat, the next frontier. These are the experiences from Gunter's universe. His continuing mission? To seek out and connect with VR devs and passionate enthusiasts. To discuss theories, beliefs, and rhetoric of all kind. And to boldly go where no show has ever gone before.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to Gunter's Universe, everyone. I'm your host, Gunter S. Thompson, and this is a show where we discuss VR and all things geek, as well as interview some of the movers and shakers in the VR and tech industries. Tonight, I have Vintendo. He's sitting across from me here. He's the creator and host of the Manchild Show. The Manchild Show is the only show that blurs the line between tech and fun, featuring an all-star cast of comedians and techies. Brought to you by the crazy ones at Manchild Technologies. Your podcast debuted in April 2013, so it's been running for about 4 years now or over on Blog Talk Radio. Vintendo, how are you doing? Welcome.
Man, I am doing excellent. Gunter, that was a really nice intro, too. I got to give it to you. Like, you got the hairs and my Oculus haircut that I got going here. You know what Oculus haircut I'm talking about, right? When you take the rift off and you're like, who the hell is that? Who is that?
It's like Bedhead, similar to Bedhead. For the layman out there, would just look like Bedhead.
Oculus Rift now featuring Bedhead. I can see it. I can see it. Slap a price tag on it, and we're good to go.
Mm-hmm. So let's start off with a little bit of like VR chat, and then want to bring it back to like your background, and then we'll fly through other things like the show and whatnot. How did you find VR chat? What's the connection that has led you here on Gunter's Universe?
You know, it's kind of funny because, I've been around with the Oculus since the DK1 days, the DK2, I did the Kickstarter and everything like that. So I've been a firm believer in this technology. And when I first got this, for some weird reason, and it's no offense to anybody at VR chat, the icon must have just not hit me the same way other icons did, because I skipped over it, and I ended up going to alt space for a while. And while I was in there, I said to myself, it's fun, it's cool, but it's kind of missing something. I'm like, it's kind of missing the personal taste that you get, around here. Obviously, everything that you run into is a little tiny piece of somebody. And when one day out of nowhere, sitting around, and it was probably a little bit one of those days where you can't find enough content for VR because you've tried everything. Like, you've literally downloaded every single thing from the Oculus store. You've gone over to Steam and did the exact same thing. And I clicked on VR chat. And I tell you, right there in that very moment, it's like something happened to me. It's like, I have a development background.
Oh, somebody's got an important conversation. Hold on, Vintendo. Sir. Actually, your name starts with sir.
I think it was trying to keep it quiet because he's kind of glitching out there.
Just if you could mute, that'd be cool, man. Vintendo, where were we?
So once we, I actually got into VR chat and I started looking around and noticing, the customization, the creative freedom. It literally, the best way that I try to explain it to my friends is my imagination woke up again. And, it was almost like my imagination came to life. If you remember, Gunter, you go back to a time in the world when, innocence wasn't lost and you were a child playing with action figures. You would come up with the exact same scenarios. Yeah. Exactly. Snake Eyes and Sergeant Slaughter. Personally, I was a Donatello Ninja Turtle guy. But the funny thing is, the same way that I would imagine things, and you'd make up stories as a kid when you're playing with your toys. Now you can do it on a big boy level.
Yeah.
And I haven't said that too many times without breaking a flexible chair.
It's true. We have the best toys here. This is the infinite toy sandbox.
Oh my God.
We treat ourselves like action figures. Some of these people are small, little, basically action figure size. It's incredible.
And you never know what you're going to get. You never know what you're going to get. I mean, I'm sure that my appearance comes off a little WTF for you. And, and it's kind of
WWF, actually.
And WWF, it could be like, oh, yeah, go get on, I'm going to take your avatar. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, snap into a polygon. And the funny thing is,
some sparks,
that's like the number one thing that I hear too. People walk up to me, they look up at me, they say, are we allowed to curse on here? But they say WTF is what they say. And I'm sure you guys can, either figure that out or use your imagination and create something else to it. And the funny part is, when they see me, we can explain it to you after the show. When they see the avatar, they always ask me the same question: is that your head? Is that your face? Sure. And ironically enough, I don't know if that's a compliment or if it's scaring them or if it, maybe it's in Halloween theme, so it fits perfect. But yeah, this is my real face, and a lot of people kind of find that, interesting and weird at the same time because, like, oh God, now people know who you are. And to be honest with you, I feel like I've arrived where I need to be in my life. VR chat, like I said, has sparked a creative bug inside of me. It's just, I really think there's more here than meets the eye or the lens. No pun intended.
Oh man, this place is just getting started, and we're very much similar, like-minded group at the same time. Fell in love with VR, see social VR as the future, and it's just taken our lives, and it's made me a much happier person, and that's what it sounds like it's doing to you.
Oh, it's amazing. It's almost like, we ended up having to go and buy another 2 virtual reality setups in my home because trying to explain it or watching somebody with the magic goggles on in the middle of the room going, wow, gets kind of repetitively boring. So, after we sold a kidney and one of our small pinky toes, we went and bought another 2 Oculuses and the computers that went along with it. And I tell you what, there is not one time that people don't come over and we strap these crazy head units on them that they just leave. You can just tell that they've been changed. I personally think that what we're sitting in here is the cusp. It's a transitional point in the way that we use things post PC era.
It is kind of like the post PC is what we're riding into. Next platform. The final platform. Some have said it is. There is no once you're inside the environment, you don't get more screen real estate, or you don't get. It's not like having 3 monitors or 10 monitors or whatever. You're now in it.
I think once the technology reaches a point where you start seeing those true high definition, ultra definition headsets where your eye is going to have an issue distinguishing between reality and virtual reality, I think that's when you're going to say that we've arrived, and we've arrived in a way that lets you rethink everything. I mean, I've been reading articles, for the Manchild Show, we were doing a story about, it's not just video games. There's a lot of people that are using this that have like social anxiety disorder. There's a lot of people that are actually tackling phobia. It's that's when you have something that's revolutionary. It's gonna be able to do what the other electronics did to us before. We got to crawl before we walk, and I think once the way technology is, once we actually hit that walking speed, we're gonna haul ass faster than a fat kid looking at a Twinkie.
That is so relevant.
It is irrelevant, but I was actually a fat kid, and I still am kind of like chubby and stuff, and I would run twice as fast if you showed me a Twinkie. Promise.
I used to be a crazy.
Same. I better start buying some Twinkies then.
It's chubby person logic. It works out for the best. Put a Twinkie in front of me, and you're going to be like, that big guy can really move. Anyway.
So let's, what does your family think about it? And tell us about your family.
So I'm actually the first generation born here in the United States. My family has like an Italian background. So for them, when they see, when they come over and they see me with the magic goggles on, some of them can't stand it, to be honest with you. Some of it, because these things are weird. Yeah, these things are like the perfect bastard child for conspiracy theories. You know what I'm saying? Because now they're really gonna fucking brainwash you. You know what I'm saying? Now it's over now. So some of them don't like it. Some of them like it so much that they stand up out of their chair immediately. No, I'm just kidding. Some of them like it so much. Some of them like it so much that they ask me the question that I'm sure you've been asked 1,000 times. Right before they leave, they say, "Where can I get one? And is it expensive?" So unfortunately, you tell them you can get one, at Best Buy, and it's super expensive. So that kind of, or you can go with something like, I almost don't even want to tell people to go with a lesser experience because I don't want it to be tainted for them.
Yeah.
Because no offense against anything, and everything is innovation. It takes place in many different products across the span of shelf life that they have. But if I would have tried, let's say, one of those Chinese mock-off models with no name and it only works with 2 Steam games, you would have been hard pressed to get me to spend that extra $3,000-$4,000 for the other computers. But, they love it. Some of them really think that it's amazing. I was able to take my father, 75 years old. He literally has been in America since he was, I think, about 20s, late 20s, maybe early 30s. And, because of other personal things in family, health issues of my mother and stuff, he wasn't able to travel, to go back to his country, to go back to Italy. And, when you're 75 years old, and you've seen everything. I'm sure when we're 75 years old, we'll probably just be our brain in a jar of formaldehyde being passed around a party. Like, here, hold Gunter for a little bit. If you shake him, he's a talk show host, something like that. But, I was able to put him into Google Earth and take him back to Italy.
Sure.
And, I've seen this man, the image that some people have of their father, especially European, immigrant fathers, they have this image of being like He-Man, strong as a rock, powerful as an ox, full of will, full of determination. And this thing moved him, man. And that's when I knew, I said to myself, you know what, that's a career that I want to follow. I want to definitely do something that has to do with virtual reality because he was moved in such a way. Imagine not being home, everybody, for 20, 30 years since you've been back to your house, and somebody gives you a pair of goggles, even if you don't understand what you're doing, and the next thing you know, you're magically teleported back to
it's powerful.
to your land, to your country. Oh, dude, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I've done it with just where I grew up, went and revisited in Street View or Google Earth or something.
It's very emotional.
Just so powerful. Yeah, there's the woods that I played in, and where I was looking at the Playboys that I had hidden there when I was 10 years old.
I used to take, I had a friend of mine, another chubby kid like me, and we both used to have the fanny pack that I now have myself. We used to actually steal our father's Playboys, and we'd rip the pages up and sell them at lunchtime for 25 cents a page because some kids weren't late. It's the first form of entrepreneurship back in 91.
Smart.
They were putting an age on myself. But it's very emotional when you visit these places, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. And the memory, it's like, you're kind of there. And so the memories flood back, because you're spatially, I think memories are stored in a way that we understand them very spatially in life. And, you can almost smell some things when you feel like you're there back at maybe a childhood home.
Amazing what the mind can do, the most powerful organ that we have. And also another thing that's interesting as well, you said, you can smell things. I find it really strange. I've read a couple of studies on this, but have you ever experienced anything as far as virtual reality memories where your subconscious has actually formed a memory inside of VR? And the next thing you know, while you're in reality, you'll come about something. Let's say that, you showed me a VCR in here, and then I went and saw a VCR. I'd be like, oh man, just the other day when I saw a VCR, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that was virtual reality. That wasn't even real. I find myself actually doing that. I'm not sure if anybody, because there's been a lot of reports, if you do some reading on it, there's some awesome stuff that takes place. Have any of you guys felt any kind of displacement after, before you got your VR legs or anything like that? Like when you would take the head unit off and you're like, whoa, you know what I mean?
I've known a lot of people that experience that. Can't really put a finger on any of that kind of stuff that's happened to me personally, but a lot of people, that disassociated.
DK1 on.
I was born ready for this shit. Yeah, that's right. Tuscany, Italy is my first 30 frames a second demo. And it blew me away.
But I think what we're seeing here, it depends how deep of a person you are. If you're one of those deep people that look for a meaning and everything, and I happen to be that person sometimes, I have to admit that. what we're sitting in right now is actually something very magical. I think the whole vision of this that's behind this, and if you really start paying attention to how it's starting to take off, it's going to gain a momentum where I think these things are going to be commonplace in our home, just like the PCs were back in the 90s.
Sure. It's too good of a tool. It's going to be too important of a tool to have. Just, I think, like the cell phone is,
And I can cry in here and nobody can see it. Like, what's the matter, Tendo? It'll be like, oh, got a little bit of foggy in there. All LEDs burning my retina,
Actually, can I say something? I don't know
if
anybody saw. There is a trailer based on VR. It's called Ready Player One, and it's kind of like based on, like, in the near future when VR is basically all that people need.
What's this called? Ready Player One? Never heard of it.
I haven't heard of that.
I've never heard.
Sorry, this is extreme sarcasm. Sorry, Lunico. Sorry, this is extreme sarcasm. I think a lot of us have read that book 4 years ago or so, and this is I've lived part of that book.
It's amazing. Can I tell it really quick?
That's just, that book. So.
I'm actually named. I stole my name from there.
This, if you read an article on Vice that they did about Gunter, he's referenced to be almost like that person. I read the book. I haven't seen the movie. It was amazing. And
a lot of fun.
Yeah. That goes to show you what we're talking about. Things are changing. I mean, Gunter, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's what we're excited about, is that stuff that you're seeing in that. Yeah.
There's this one movie called The Matrix where it's kind of like this too.
What? I've never heard of that. I'll have to check that out.
I think there's a Disney movie called The Lawnmower Man. Something like this too.
That's an oldie.
Lawnmower Man 2,
very
that's where it's
realistic
at.
too. They were spot on in their technology.
We should watch that one night in like a big screen or something, just to be like, okay, so we're in VR watching this. And...
okay, let's talk about the Manchild Show. This is a big deal. This is a really it's a really fun show, really cool show. It's actually the type of show I really dig. Very conversational, let loose, kind of anything goes. You got a group of funny people there. Has that radio vibe from just, radio disc jockey. You got a lot of retro. You got a lot of segments. Very nostalgic.
You got a lot of curse words too.
A lot of curse words, a lot of
so we definitely have done some. Yeah, there is a lot of fucked up things. I'm glad that you dropped the second F-bomb. I slipped before, so now I feel more confident.
Oh no. So you could say anything you want.
I think I should probably start this off by making a public statement about this because last week or 3 days ago we had the Manchild Show, and the turnout was awesome. We had a lot of people that were interested in the show. We did a virtual reality version, the first time we've ever done that in VR, and unfortunately, we were super happy about it. We had even like comedian Tom Green who was retweeting about it and stuff. So it was kind of neat to watch. The IRL version start to trickle down into the VR, because I've always wanted to do cartoons. We've always wanted to do the Manchild Show as a cartoon for the past almost 5 years of us doing the Manchild Show. All the scripting and everything is written as a film script for a cartoon. So when I saw my opportunity to come in here and do it, I thought that I said, oh my God, this has to be a miracle that this literally just is. You can do this now. Technology is allowing us to do what we're doing right now.
You can act it out. You don't have to animate it by hand.
Oh my God,
it's beautiful.
So after we had a great show with you on there, and I want to thank you again for coming by and being our guest, because it was simply amazing. Great time. A little bit of lag, actually a lot of lag, a little bit of lag. And definitely a lot of lag. Afterwards, we were notified by the people from VR Chat, rightfully so, by the way, too, because I definitely want to go on record as saying I agree with this 100%. Unfortunately, because of the formula that we brought into virtual reality, which was a personal mistake myself and my writers, we didn't necessarily kind of look forward into the future to think how it would be pulled off. VR is a very different place. And for a lot of people that reported the show, unfortunately, what they got from it was not the correct message. In no way would we ever promote bullying or sexism or anything like that. What we do is we make a mockery and a joke of what society has become, and this is we feel the truth, at least. In one second you'll have 9/11, and on the other second Borat spit into a bucket, but both of them have equal coverage in the media. So we think that that's fucking ridiculous, and that happens a lot. Donald Trump's hair might not be real, and meanwhile somebody's pointing nuclear bombs at us, but they're both on the news at the same time with the right amount of coverage, and depending what kind of friends that you have on Facebook and so forth, that's what you'll see all day. So we kind of take it as an old form of Archie Bunker meets Howard Stern, with a little mixture of technology in there, because a lot of us have a lot of technology background. So I wanted to personally apologize for anybody that might have been offended the way the show came off. It was very strong if you weren't expecting it. So what we did was I had sat down and talked with some people at VR Chat, and I apologized to everybody because, again, that was not our intentions. Basically also with the way things are going with trolls lately, we really didn't want to feed into more assholes coming in, leaving the Manchild Show all rallied up like, they just watched Limp Bizkit again at Woodstock, and, make it harder for people to, because it's really true. People come in here, and for a lot of people, and these are just prime examples. You never know if somebody might be coming out of the closet because they're gay and they feel more comfortable in here because this is where they live. Yeah. You never know if somebody has a lot of anxiety, like myself. I suffer from debilitating anxiety sometimes in real life, which, in the field of work that I do, I mean, this is like a relief. So, and there's not that many women in here as there are men. And the big thing about that is we don't want to make it more difficult for girls to come in here if, hey, yo, I just saw Rocky. I'm going to come out and kick everybody's fucking ass. You know what I'm talking about? That feeling. They're coming out of the Manchild Show. They're rallied up and they take it the wrong way. And that's something that really, really hurt my feelings because I said to myself, God, I would never want anybody to feel like that. So immediately, we took the map down. I will not be using that map ever again. We rewrote the entire formula because there's, through the 5 years of the Manchild Show in real life, we've been on different shows where we have what we call the PG-13 switch. And that switch is now enabled, and the Manchild Show has a brand new studio. And it's going to be a lot nicer. It's not going to be the way that it was. And if anybody wants that kind of stuff, there's the podcast in real life, So we really want to bring something to virtual reality that hasn't been done. I mean, not necessarily hasn't been done because Gunter, you've already started doing it and you've been doing it. We want to bring something here, a new form of entertainment that is created by the people, fueled by the people, and we want to bring smiles to people's face. So again, we deeply apologize for anybody offended, and for anybody that just did it to be a troll or whatnot. You can lick the backside of my ass any day. Just let me know.
I had a great time. Yeah, I think a lot of people appreciate that kind of content as well.
It was terrible, man. There was trolls in the audience that we weren't aware of that were dropping racist terms and stuff. I mean, whoever did this, when you go to sleep at night, just remember that this could happen to you. Like one day to the next, something could come out that we can make fun of you about. And, this was terrible to see video clips of people yelling obscenities, just to troll. And then being made aware of the troll problem, I said to myself, okay.
I guess I didn't realize that was happening. Sometimes you're oblivious when you're up on the stage.
We were having such a great time, So again, I apologize to everybody, but we will try our best to make sure we can keep those smiles in everybody's face.
Okay, cool. So tell me more about the Manchild Show and, how did it start? When did it start? Who's your crew? You got this awesome ensemble of characters that are on your show regularly.
They are definitely unlike. So the Manchild Show literally goes way back into the early 90s. Before it was called the Manchild Show, we had this thing that we would do as a close group of our high school friends where, I guess I can be honest here, you're 15 years old back in 1995, we'd smoke some weed or we'd drink a little bit, and we'd take turns acting out different skits from movies. But the catch was that we'd always change the movies to what we wanted it to be. So, Back to the Future, he left his keys. We'd make up all different scenarios. And so we started making jokes like that. And that started moving on. And we always had this idea of this radio show that brought back an element of 1930s storytelling. I'm not sure if you remember that. That goes very far. That goes That goes towards our
Sure, like the Phantom or the
you know, like when they
I'm
used to
thinking
have
of like mysteries though, but I don't know about the radio, like the
well, they would have like
story.
Ovaltine mysteries and Annie mysteries and stuff like that. And, you know, and people would have to tune in and then, you know, and then they opened the door. Tune in next week when you hear the conclusion of what the fuck was
like
in the
the
door.
Shadow.
You know?
Yeah,
Exactly.
I feel like that.
We thought that was funny as hell because I was like, you know, people would actually sit in front of their television, in front of their radio, I'm sorry, when there was no television, and they would literally sit there and have to use their imagination, which is something that goes dull in a society where, you know, Google auto corrects us, our phone remembers all of our numbers, you know, so it's kind of neat to use your imagination sometimes. So we decided that we would do something that told stories. So we had all sorts of adventures that we would come up with, you know, all through the years. So finally in 2013, my first company that I made had to do with iOS development, so software for iPhones and iPad. And we're going back to the original span of iOS 1. So, you know, I had a couple of friends that were part of the original dev team, and I got into jailbreaking. I thought it was really neat so we could release our own products. Before Apple had an app store, we were pushing apps through Cydia and stuff like that. So I went on to create a program in there that would allow you to take a picture of your face. And do you remember the iPhone used to have a slider on the bottom? So we called it Face Slider, and you could literally turn the slider into anything you wanted. Like, people would take pictures of everything, turn into a slider. And at that point, once we sold a couple of different softwares that we were doing for that, I found myself in a position where I could finally venture into something that really I held dear to my heart, something that I always wanted to do, you know. And started talking with a couple of friends, and, you know, we were on Skype so often, and I said, you know, it probably wouldn't be hard to write some kind of custom software that would enable all of us to you know, interact with each other and allow me to run sound effects and do editing on the fly. And before you know it, all the developers in the community started coming together. And at that time, we had video commercials, and nobody had video commercials for apps, at least in Cydia at that time. And they were crazy. They were just as crazy as a show is. So a lot of the developers started coming on, and we started interviewing developers. And that eventually turned into the Manchild Show. And then in season 2, we were blessed with some really awesome fans that had a lot of followers on Twitter. They started tweeting us. So they started tweeting about how they found the show and they were listening to it. And around season 2, we started doing some work with Pornhub and stuff. We started doing little skits and stuff and adding them into our episodes. And after that, we really... You know, just really, it's been a long journey, but at the same time, it's been a great journey. The show consists of, you know, a cast that has known each other for many years on some occasions. It also, you know, we have a mobile van that we call the dumpster that we drive around in. That's actually the short. It's actually the short name of it. I did you justice right there. Like I just couldn't do it. You have your world is just too nice for me to say the cum word. So we call it the dumpster. We're inside. We drive around the United States, getting into different adventures, from taking ET to rehab. We got abducted by aliens. We found an Oregon Trail diskette, which warped us into the Oregon Trail. We've done all these different adventures, and then after the first 20 minutes of story take place, we have a live podcast where we take calls, and you know, we tackle everything that we can possibly tackle. And the crew has a story behind it. There's favorite characters, and it's really something else. You know, like really, what I feel is a lot of times now, there's a lot of shit out there, Gunter, that lacks any kind of soul to it. Like, you're watching and consuming media that's literally fucking stupid. And half of the time when you're watching this shit, you're putting money in people's pockets and they think it's funny, so another person comes along and acts even more stupid. So somewhere in there, talent was lost. And I think that's what these underground communities are. And that's why when I say that I think these days we're sitting in something that's going to be a lot bigger, because this is going to change it again. This is going to change how we do it again.
Tell me about these characters, though. The good Reverend. Who are these people? I want to know about them.
I don't know if we call him the good Reverend. So
the good, maybe not the good.
The Reverend Sir Chano has been a buddy of mine for 25 years in real life. And the Reverend Sir Chano has always been, everybody has a friend like this. That one friend that won't curse too often, straight as an arrow, very loyal. You know, he'll always do something for you. But it's funny when someone like him is actually friends with someone like me, who's the complete bipolar opposite. You know, we'll be in public somewhere and I'll be like, wow, you know, that really, I don't know if that smells like dick or ass. And he'll look at me and be like, are you serious right now? You know, so we thought it was kind of funny and only proper that Sir Chano should be a reverend because, you know, he's very religious. And so the Reverend Sir Chano goes around blessing the caps of millions every day with his magic thunder stick. And, you know, he comes up with these, he's got a skit in the show called Would You Look at This? And it's pretty much a spoof on Ripley's Believe It or Not. You know, he comes to us with stories from all over the internet that, like, you really have to ask yourself, is this full of shit or is this a real story? And the Reverend Sir Chano comes to us and lets us know. We have Jilly Bean Flicker, who started off in season 1 with right Jilly Bean Flicker, guys. I mean, sometimes you gotta sit back and think about it for a while. And I'll tell you guys what, it's not black licorice either. It's a good flavor. It's like watermelon. Totally different story though. So we got Jilly Bean Flicker on there. Season 1, she had no internet in real life, and she was using some kind of laptop that like came out, one of the first laptops, you know. And she sounded like she was a robot because, you know, the audio would cut in and out. So we said that she was a robot. Eventually, we turned her into a real girl through 3 seasons. And she's great, man. She's like your typical Kelly Bundy. You got your really sexy bimbo. Who means well, but doesn't realize that people are taking advantage of her. But it's all in fun and games as long as she smiles, is her attitude. We have Nikki Nightshade, who is almost like a sidekick to Jilly Bean Flicker. But they always argue and stuff. So it's like putting 2 women that are very competitive together, and and in real life they're perfectly good friends. Vintendo is obviously there as the. You know, it's fun. It's fun. It gives you something to root for. And, you know, we've had many other, you know, crew members and guests. Vintendo, I would express as you know, I've been doing IT work and computer work and music work. I've been part of this industry for a very long time. You know what I'm saying? And it's, for me, like, Vintendo is like the ultimate product of the world today. You know, if you take the character Vintendo and mix it with Archie Bunker, who is very closed-minded but very passionate about what he was thinking. Now, you take away the racism of Archie Bunker and you replace it with internet ignorance. And why internet ignorance, for people that don't know what that is when your friend comes up to you and says, dude, do you realize that people will literally send you a freaking Wii if you click on this profile? And you're like, oh, dude, internet ignorance. You know what I'm saying? It's people that are educated and have been born and brought up in the internet age. And literally how you would say to me, don't believe anything that you read on the internet. Some people really do believe everything they read on the internet. So Vintendo is that product. Vintendo is a product of, what do you mean that's not real? I read it on the internet. Okay, prove it wrong then. So it kind of, you know, has this story drive. They live in an altered universe. And that's why I thought bringing them to virtual reality would do it justice. Because, I mean, that's literally... you know, they live in a different world. Like they don't apply by the same rules. They don't think things are disgusting. And what we say is the Manchild Show is your personal time machine to go back to a day when nobody gave a fuck, to go back to a day when it was okay to take a break from giving a fuck, just for a little bit, enough to have a good time.
Certainly escape, right? I think it's pretty interesting that you have this cast of characters that would translate extremely well to avatar form, to having these aliases. You know, you guys are already down that
writing the story. It's been very hard to find the proper platform to do it on. Like Mind Show looked awesome, but super limited. Space, that you can't even count that because you can't do anything in there besides, you know, run around a maze and you know, look at YouTube videos. And I'm not making fun of that platform. What I'm saying is when it came time to do something like this, Gunter, I mean, you have to speak for it too. Where else could you do this besides VR chat?
High fidelity's a thing, and so maybe, you know, they're starting to do shows there. But you're right, you need a platform that allows you to have your own custom world, in which these are the 2 platforms that allow for that, not Not very many others do.
We can't keep making the same video with Happy Twinkie and the other avatar that's in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, great. Here's another fucking Twinkie video. You know what I'm saying? People are going to start disliking you the same way they dislike those people that post that shit on Facebook where they say, oh my God, I just cried for an hour. This is the saddest video. Then why the fuck are you sharing it on Facebook so the rest of us can get sad? You should warn people about that. Run, you know? We all have those friends on Facebook. I know you guys do.
Don't forget about the Q-tip.
The Q-tip. Supposedly they're... Is that a Q-tip? Is he a Q-tip? Is that what he's saying?
Don't forget about the debate.
Yeah, in all space. It's an all space avatar.
All space, they call it the Q-tip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Q-tips aren't good for you, even though it feels really, really good. That's like
it feels really, really good.
It's almost like unprotected sex. Like the Q-tip feels amazing in your ear, but no good for you. No good for you.
Not good for you. Oh, okay. Interesting.
I
stopped showering 5 months ago, so I'm okay.
I've always wanted to do that, but then like
and no one
it
can
gets
tell
weird.
It's VR.
Yeah, it's because it's VR. You can do it. You know, like literally, I think I played VR for like a month straight while trying to make my first map and learn Unity. And when I took off my head unit, I couldn't tell you who the fuck that man in the mirror was. Like, I looked at the guy and I was like, holy shit, that guy probably does drugs. Look at his beard. Look at the way he looked. Like, I literally time warped. I was clean shaven. I had a nice parted to the hair, a haircut going. And immediately, like, you get into VR and before you know it, man, 3 hours disappears, 5 hours disappear. It's been like 2 days. It's been like 3 days. But it's okay. You still look fresh in here, you know? You can't stink palm your friends in VR, folks.
So you got things like call-in segments and guests, but you also have other bits, and you mentioned, I think, one or two. What other bits you got going on?
We had, at one point, we had a story where the NSA had taken us off the air because we used up way too many likes on Facebook. And it was this big story where we were in a big studio and the NSA raided us and we took off because we used too many likes and stuff. We took off in the cum dumpster. We lost control and fell into the ocean. And again, you really have to use your imagination here. Like, how the fuck did they get from the NSA to falling in the ocean and who came? So all of a sudden, we ended up on an island, and we were stuck on the island for all season 3. And on the island, we ended up finding a bunch of our guests that we had booked for the show. We ended up writing them into the actual storyline. So we had comedian Sean Weiss, who is Goldberg from the Mighty Ducks, really awesome guy. And he has a whole tour called the Mighty Schmucks Tour. So we had all the comedians from the Mighty Schmucks Tour. Then we had a couple of adult stars on there. We had we had Joanna Angel and Alexa Ames on the show. Sunny Megatron from Showtime. She has a sex specialist. So it was kind of cool. We wrote them all into the storyline in season 3, and then we finally got off the island. You know, we finally got off the island. Season 4, we're back to our roots, driving around in the truck. No fancy studio needed. And we closed an awesome season with, some great friends and some awesome people. I mean, you meet some cool people. You got to admit that. In this field, you meet some awesome people. And we're hoping to come back with season 5 to just really blow everybody's mind. I mean, we're going to try to really blur the line between tech and fun. We're going to make it so small that your pubes are going to be jealous of how thin that line is, Gunter.
So when does season 5 happen, and then how is the show in VR chat different?
Season 5 was going to be announced actually on our second episode of the VR version of the show. So season 5 is going to launch in exactly 2 weeks. But next week, this weekend coming up on the 28th, we're going to have a Halloween special because we've always done Halloween specials with a crazy story plot and all that other great stuff. And we will be back 2 weeks after this weekend with season 5 and a really, really special guest that I wish I could tell everybody about. But knowing me, if I say it, it won't happen. And then who knows, man? Who knows what happens?
I know what you mean.
When that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference between, and this is becoming a weird term now, the Manchild Show IRL and VR. I mean, it sounds like a cream that you put on something that an over-friendly guest brought to bed, And so the funny thing is, the difference would be, it's going to be a lot more clocked down in here. There's a lot of stuff that we realized from that first episode worked and a lot of stuff that didn't work. And what we really want to do is we want to focus on the stuff that did work and venture deeper in there. I would say that the difference is this show is more geared with Vintendo, the Vintendo character, going off into his own adventure. He's inside of VR because, Vintendo's crazy like that, and we've seen him do things at a public urinal, so why wouldn't he use VR? You know what I'm saying? That kind of feeling to it. So, and no, I didn't do anything at the urinal. It was actually at the stall, but another story, another place.
At least you shut the door, right?
I shut the door for it, but I left it open just in case you want to write a sequel or something. You get back to me, and together we'll do something.
So let's travel down maybe some nostalgic, the past with the Gunter life. My life is full of nostalgia of the 80s and 90s. We already dropped G.I. Joe and Ninja Turtles and cartoons. These are all things that are part of my life. Something like Space Ghost. Are you a big fan of Space Ghost? I have a feeling you are. Yeah.
Yes. And you know what? This freaking map kind of reminds me of that, too. I could totally see it flying in the background. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would like to be able to, I think we talked about this a little bit, be able to bring the real life world in a video screen, plops down, be able to talk to somebody in the real world. Yeah.
We're working on it. If we get it, we'll gladly give it to you 2 seconds later. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a lot of us actually working on a lot of stuff here that we should all combine together. I know we've talked about that too. And I've noticed that people are just amazing around here. Like if you really want something done and everybody puts their brains together, it's amazing. It's literally like Voltron. Everybody combines. When our powers combine, we get to do the Rhino at Gunter's.
VR-tron. Yes. There's
VR. I got a fanny pack, so I'm happy.
50 people that make up this Voltron, though, or tons more. There's so many.
It's the vehicle Voltron is what it is. With like
the vehicle one.
Yeah.
People are just super cool, man. Like you run into people all the time. I mean, granted, I get the "what the fuck are you?" and I always respond with the same thing to be polite. I say, I'm Vintendo, and then of course the second thing that they respond with is, "What the fuck is a Vintendo?" And maybe I'm feeding into it, Gunter. I don't know. But then I respond with, me, I'm a fucking Vintendo. And then immediately you get this response where they get quiet. They look at you and they're like, wow. And they just walk away. Some people tell me I'm ugly and all this other crazy stuff. But, most of all, I think it's my head. I think it's bloody big head that gets me in trouble,
Oh, yeah. It's a little uncanny, right? I'm sure you can tell.
That's not real life. I bump this shit out of this head probably everywhere.
I think it's super cool because that image, of course, is on a lot of your branding materials and just stamped everywhere. So it fits perfect. It is almost a part of the logo, right?
That's kind of what it actually kind of, the original logo for the Manchild Technologies, which is my company that I founded in 2009. It was this head on a tricycle, and the tricycle was kind of like badass. It had a chain on it and some spikes and stuff. And
Sweet.
I always got to have my ecto cooler. Always got to have my gummy bears and my ecto cooler. Without those, I can't survive. I have no power.
Nice. So I was rummaging through Facebook. I saw you have an NES and a Super NES.
Yes.
Are they the classic editions, I believe?
So yes, they are the classics. I finally got one this time. Thank God.
Nice.
I didn't have to fight off any scalpers with swords or anything like that. But yeah, man, those things are awesome. Have you gotten your hands on any of them?
No, I just play emulators, on the PC and have a cheap knockoff controller, which is not the same. But yeah, what have you been playing, or what do you got for that, or what do you like?
So I went back and revisited everything. As a chubby little kid, I literally was known for being able to speed run Super Mario Brothers, and I loved doing it. But another
I think I saw All Stars on there, right? Like Super All Stars is what's up.
Dude, is that the best game ever invented? And the funny part is, you turn it on and people look at it for a second, and it's like 8-bit crack. They'd start to levitate towards it, and next thing you know, they're playing it too. The other night we spent probably, oh my God, the entire afternoon literally trying to beat Super Mario Brothers 2, the Lost Levels, which I'm not sure if
Lost
you know
Levels,
about
man.
this.
Oh, I know about it.
It's the Japanese version, because in America, we got Doki
like 5
Doki
extra
Panic.
levels. So fucking hard.
Dude, it is so hard. It is so hard that I literally sat there and remembered a time. I remembered when I learned every curse word in my entire life. It was playing Nintendo with my old man. Every curse word. He would teach them to me, and then my mother would beat them out of me later on when she heard me say them. You know what I mean? But I would say I'm most likely playing, I'm revisiting all the games that I used to not get a chance to play at sleepovers because nobody would like pass me the controller, you know. So I revisited like because it's Halloween in October. I revisited Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. Literally I tried like Bayou Billy. I mean, of course you got to beat Contra again. Why not? You know what I'm saying? And some of these
down,
games,
down, man. Yep.
Up, down, down, left, right, left. And you know what's kind of funny? That code still works the way we remember it. I know that, like you're saying, you know, why wouldn't it? Because it's coded in there, but it still feels just as good. I mean, yeah, I don't get a boner off of it, but it's still just as good.
Street Fighter?
Street Fighter 2? Oh, man. Well, who's your guy?
Yeah.
Who's your guy on Street Fighter? Who are you? You remind me of like a Ken or a Ryu.
I do like them a lot, and the Chun-Li. Yeah.
Hadouken to you, my friend.
Yeah. Are you a Guile or are you a Blanca? Okay,
so I would probably lean more towards Guile because you could do the handcuff move in Street Fighter 2. Remember the glitch where you could freeze them in the air and literally?
Oh, I don't think I remember.
Oh, there was a glitch where you did some kind of fuckery on the controller, and before you know it, you flip upside down, and Guile or Ghoulie or however you pronounce it would actually get the character stuck in the middle of the air, and you'd beat the quarters out of your opponent at the arcade. Like the people could keep trying, and every time you did that one move, the game was over.
That was the days, man, when you put your quarters up on the machine,
on the screen,
get in line to play an arcade machine with another person, social gaming, strangers. Yes. You know, just so good, and just watching was always so much fun.
And you really didn't hear any stories on the news like, you know, a little kid, 12 years old, shot when somebody stole his quarter off the glass. You know, that didn't happen. People left your quarter there. They didn't fuck around.
That's right. That's right. Worst was when it would fall like into the machine. I had that happen like a couple times.
So, I mean, honestly, the retro gaming thing has literally, I mean, I've always had emulators for the longest time, and this thing is no different than a retro Pi with a fancy case and Nintendo branding on the side of it. It's awesome. I modded it. I added every single ROM that you could possibly imagine. And a lot of people say, you know, that's a kind of a gray area. Well, honestly, I don't remember what games my parents bought me for the past 30 years, you know, because I'm sure that I had all these games at some point. Everybody had 1,000 Nintendo games, you know what I mean? So we put all the games on there and we walked through it. It's awesome. We're having a Halloween party, and we're going to crack out both the SNES and the NES in 2 separate rooms for our guests, and we think that it's just amazing. Those games never get old. They aged very well.
Oh, I love playing them. I love playing the old games. Super Nintendo really gets me. It's just.
What was your favorite Super Nintendo game?
Well, I mean, there's stuff like Link to the Past is easy. Yeah. You know, it's like great Secret of Mana is really great. But like
ActRaiser.
Street Fighters, F-Zero.
F-Zero, man. Beep, 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 beep. When you used to fall off the track and you were like, fuck, I gotta start.
Sarah mentioned again. Earthbound.
City. Earthbound, I never played that, but that's supposed to be an epic RPG.
Great game.
Yeah.
What else was there? Super Castlevania was phenomenal.
Yes. Love the Super Metroid, of course. See, the Supers, man, some of them were really good.
They just tacked on Super to anything. They're like Super Hickory Warriors, you know, and you're like, this is a super shit. Remember Home Alone? Ever play that video game? That was one of those rentals.
I didn't play Home Alone.
I remember it was one of those games where your parents tell you, look, you run in there, hurry up, get the game that you want, and come back home, you know, this and that. And so I went and got Home Alone out of all things, and it was the kind of game that you knew sucked ass before you even put it into the system, you know, you just knew it. You stuck it in
games,
there.
Right.
What? Oh my God! By LGN.
Oh no!
As soon as you see that logo, you know they're saying put salt on your.
That's the one with the sunshine, the rainbow, right?
Yes. They used to make like all WWF games back in the day, and that was a sack of shit. So there was some gems, and there definitely, I mean, like every system, granted, you know, but Super Nintendo really was packing a punch. That Super Mario World, man, that Christmas that came out, me and my cousins and family were huddled around that thing like it was going to give us a secret of life or something, you know.
What about in the arcade? What did you really enjoy in the arcade?
So I grew up with my family owning a restaurant. Like I told you, they were from Italy and stuff. So we actually had 2 arcade machines that would babysit me pretty much because I was an only child, no brothers, no sisters. They would just give me a handful of quarters that were painted red, by the way, because we can get the red quarters back at the end of the week when the vendor would come to get the money out. It was like demo quarters. Not many people know about that. So I would sit there and I try to play it with only like, $1 or with only 50 cents. I would say my jam in the arcade, if I really had to pick, let's say top 3 games, we're going to have to go for a fighter, Mortal Kombat. I loved Mortal Kombat. I was all about Mortal Kombat. That was one of the games we had at the restaurant. Loved it.
You had Mortal Kombat at the restaurant?
Oh man, the original, the good one. Remember, he's like school.
Yeah, the first one, absolutely.
Remember you uppercut him, and everybody's like, "Oh shit!" Remember that?
Yeah, it falls into the pit. It's just
amazing reptile and shit. And then the other one that I'd have to say, which I always will play if I see that game and I got $1 in my pocket, the Simpsons arcade game for some reason.
You like that? Yeah.
Oh man, what a button masher! There's a lot of chicks in high school that should thank the Simpsons for how good I was with my fingers. You know what I'm saying? When I was tapping out those, no, I'm saying the arcade. It's a joystick, guys. Don't let it go there. But and then the third one, Ninja Turtles. You can't not fuck with Ninja Turtles. You can't be in the arcade and not. You can't be a fat kid from the 80s and not have gone to Pizza Hut and fucked with Ninja Turtles. Do you remember when they used to do that tour for Pizza Hut? The coming out of your
Pizza Hut was
tour?
the place, man. That's where
Pizza Hut was healthy for you, man.
It was healthy. It's where the party was. It's where you hung out Friday nights. It's Pizza Hut.
And your mom would drive you to Pizza Hut while smoking a fucking cigarette with the windows closed. It's too cold outside.
Yeah, maybe just cracked a little. Yeah.
And you'd get there and you'd say to your mom, Mom, I just need 1 quarter. I got to beat Shredder. I have to beat Shredder and I got to get to the Technodrome. Your mom would give you $1 and go, don't spend it all because, mom smokes. Don't spend it all in one spot. You know how it is. So you went home. You're eating your fucking high cholesterol pizza. You know what I'm saying? And you with your dirty fingers from the Ninja Turtles and the multiple quarters and shit. And then you wonder when we sit here with diabetes 25 years later. You know what I'm saying? Pizza Hut and cigarettes and closed window cars. 1980s, my friends. Late 80s, early 90s.
That's right.
That would be my arcade game. What was your arcade jam? Everybody has one.
I like Tapper a lot. So that's going back in the 80s. The beer serving game.
Yeah,
that one's hardcore. Miss Pac-Man's my favorite arcade game.
No shit. I'm waiting for you to crack out like
hack.
Narc.
Yeah.
The speed
hack?
Yeah. You go even crazier with it. You're a serious Pac-Man.
The speed hack. I'm serious.
Hey man, we got Gunter a Pac-Man machine for his birthday. You throw that fucking shit away. He likes the speed hack,
Yeah, fuck that. Regular Pac-Man, shit. No point.
Gunter got banned from the arcade for speed hacking all the Pac-Man machines, Those are great games. Those are all classics. I mean, now video games require a little bit more devotion. It feels like you're joining like a tribe sometimes. Like I've jumped on, PlayStation 4 is fun. It's fun. I got a PlayStation 4 Pro. We got the OLED television, so we do it properly and accordingly. And, it's a great time, don't get me wrong, but it's just fucking weird, man. You go on to PlayStation 4, and the community is nowhere as nice as it is here. Like, you go and you ask somebody, like, here's a prime example. If you're walking around VR chat and you say to somebody, holy crap, like, how did you do that? Somebody will literally say to you, most likely, what is your Discord name? I'll tell you, And when you're on, for some reason, when you're on consoles, I'm not sure if it's like a troll breeding ground or whatever it might be. You ask somebody, hey, buddy, how do you shoot that bazooka? With your mom's ass and your dad's finger? And you're like, are you fucking serious? And you're thinking to yourself, like, Jesus Christ, Jim, it's a game, Jim. I don't know if the guy's name is Jim, but it just sounded right,
That happens far too often.
Yeah, why does this happen? What's going on with that? I mean, are these all it's parentless children. Parentless children. You could spend
the arcade machine in the restaurant babysit you. Well, now it's PlayStation 4 babysitting these kids. And these kids are assholes.
I grew up fine, Gunter. I've only decapitated like 3 cats trying to mimic Sub-Zero's fatality. You know what I'm saying? What is he doing to Precious? Finish him. Oh my God, that cat's been in the family for years. Flawless victory.
Wait a minute.
Sometimes I feel like we're in an idle. We're in the pre-fight screen from those fighting games. You know what I'm talking about? Remember, it was like 3 frames. Remember that? It was like this.
Yep.
And it was always something in another language, and we don't know if they were talking shit about us, but we repeated it at the school zone. Remember Liu Kang's flying kick?
Oh yeah.
If you play that backwards in a C note, you'll probably hear Ozzy Osbourne lyrics for all we know. Who knows? Find a third gunman while fucking up Zangief on Street Fighter 2.
What concerts have you been to that you really enjoyed? How about that?
Let's see. Okay, so I would say that my most favorite my first concert ever, and everybody's gonna make fun of me for this, but whatever, dude. I'm wearing big boy underwear today. Is gonna be Soul Asylum. Remember them with Runaway Train?
Love it. Love Runaway Train.
And I like other songs.
The music video is way too sad, but the song pretty much is too.
Oh my god, it's and again that was like the early version of posting the sad shit in your Facebook and telling everybody, because back then you'd see that video and you'd be like, Mom, you got to see this video. Like, what's it about? Who cares? We're gonna fucking cry and you're gonna make sure I never leave. So that was my first. That was my first concert ever. I would say, I've seen Metallica, Rage Against the Machine, Tool, 9 Inch Nails, fuck, man, you name it, I've seen them. I would say...
What are you saying, man? I've seen all those bands too, man. Oh, that's pretty cool.
It was so good, dude. Cool. I feel like
Tool's the best.
Tool's the best. Cool, man, unbelievable. Some say a comet will fall from the sky, followed by meteor showers and tidal waves. It's kind of scary.
Followed by fault lines that cannot sit still. Followed by millions of dumbfounded
dipshits. And some say the end is near.
The end is near. That's right.
So I would say my favorite concert, good job on that. My favorite concert is going to be Woodstock. I went to Woodstock back in '99, and oh my God, I would never do it again, even if you paid me. But what an amazing experience. At the time when I went there, the girl that I was dating, typical from the 90s too, you get those cute little goth chicks that they were back then, forgot the tent poles. So we actually got to Woodstock and had no poles to set up. Oh man, it was amazing. So needless to say, you know what I'm saying? I literally blew my way to a tent no, I'm just kidding. Needless to say, we ended up bunking up with a couple of our, right? Like, we have no poles? Oh my God, like, quick, I'll blow somebody, give me a tent. Like, I've never heard that one before. Get this man a tent, he's very serious. So, no, but Woodstock was probably the most amazing experience, as far as the size of it, the monstrosity. Every single favorite musician that you've ever, you went to high school dreaming you could watch was all in one venue. It got a little bit scary towards the end. My family was watching it on pay-per-view. So and this was before smartphones, obviously. So for 3 days, they were in fear that I was the one either lighting the fires or trapped underneath them. So, I mean, you got to weigh it out that way. So, but that would probably be my favorite concert, man. And Metallica's another hard-hitting son of a bitches that are great to watch live. But I love all sorts of different types of music. We go everywhere. I don't necessarily understand modern music. I'm not sure if it's a denial thing because maybe I'm getting older, but, when I hear something like, Mother, Do You Think They'll Drop the Bomb by Pink Floyd, it does something for me. But when I hear Molly Percocet Molly from whoever the fuck said that, it does nothing for me. So I'm not sure if it's me that's damaged or broken, or maybe it's my ears, but I love everything. I love everything that has a positive message. Mostly classic rock. Classic rock is my jam.
Right on. I think some of the you play guitar. I think I saw some guitars in one of your pictures. I was stalking you, so I know what your office looks like.
Right. I really hope you didn't find my dick pics that I have in my USB stick.
But can you send those after the show?
Oh yeah, what I do is I Photoshop them to get that perfect angle. Have you ever noticed this? That when somebody sends a dick pic, I don't even know if this is appropriate conversation, but when somebody sends a dick pic, they always hold it like the Leaning Tower of Boner. So it has that angle where it looks like the penis is like a totem pole. Like, how do they get that angle? Because I took a picture of my penis once just to join the crowd. I wanted to be part of the in crowd. And I was like, I literally had to flip back and forth. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, when did I take a picture of my belly button? So, I mean, I don't know how these people are doing it, but yeah, I'll send them to you after the show because it's just great. I put little Red Riding Hood, put football helmets on it, and it's amazing. It's tasteless, but it's amazing. So This guy's like, what the fuck did I pay so many thousands of dollars for virtual reality for?
Yeah.
Do you like your VR? Yes, I just heard somebody literally tell me how to take the ultimate dick pic on VR.
Can't get that advice anywhere else.
Only in America.
Only on Gunter's universe.
Only on Gunter's universe.
This is a mature show as well, and
beautiful.
Everybody was warned in the very beginning, and that's all you need to do. Everybody else can figure it out. Hippie sticks. I saw some. Well, actually, the guitars though. I saw some guitars.
Shit,
What's up with that?
You saw
and I saw the hippie sticks. I saw a lot of shit.
Were you in my house this morning? Are you the reason my girlfriend was like, "I got to go to work early"? Yeah, because I mean, he saw my hippie sticks. Yes, hippie sticks. A good buddy of mine used to always do them, and I'm the kind of person
I used
that
to have them
if I
too.
set my mind to. Oh man, how relaxing is that? If I could only do that in VR. Oh, we need to make that. I shouldn't have said that out loud. Cool. We need to make devil sticks. My avatar in this fanny pack and devil sticks.
That's what it is.
Yeah, dude. I mean, literally, and fucking football helmets on top of penises. I rewind it a little bit.
I like it.
Sure, that
So yes, I can do them. I can do them. Can I do them without breaking half of the expensive shit in my room? No. But I can do them, and I feel that when I do them inside and I hit expensive things, it's easier because it bounces back. Like, okay, we're good. You know? Take out grandma's eye. I mean, it's all fun and games until somebody loses an eye, and then it's just fun that you can't see.
Sorry, guys, I gotta go pick up wife. Catch you all later.
See you guys later. Yes, say hi to her. You want me to go pick her up and you can stay here? Okay, never mind. Who are you? Hi, Vintendo here saying, why don't you get in my car and believe me? No, please. I want to wait for my car again. Vintendo here, coming at you. Why don't you get inside and forget about the seatbelt? I'm a creepy motherfucker with this voice. And people, you have a great voice. You have a great voice for radio. Okay, it's great for radio, but it fucking sucks for drive-throughs and saying anything serious. You know what I mean? Like I'm the worst son of a bitch to break it to you that somebody you know passed away. Like, hey Vin, what's up? I'm like, well, I got some bad news for you. And they're like, oh, this is cool. He's about to do a movie trailer. I'm like, your dog didn't make it. I ran over it this morning. Well, we don't have to be a dick about it. I'm not being a dick about it, dude. I'm letting you know I ran over your dog. Really good with the ladies too.
Fluffy.
Not Fluffy. Not Fluffy.
Fluffy.
Yes, Fluffy. Fluffy is no longer with us.
Poor Fluffy.
He went too far. He's fine.
He's fine there.
My hands always look like I'm drying my nails off. I'm sorry.
All dogs go to hell. I mean heaven.
We're about an hour. Let's talk about just a few other cool nostalgic things or tech things. What kind of other tech you got going on in that room of yours?
So this is my little office here that I have. What kind of tech? Like, we got the VR, we got the Oculuses going in here. As far as everything else, I mean, I also do music creation, you know, so I got my drum sets, my instruments, my guitars, my little booth that I have to record vocals. I'm really all about that. I love technology. Like, that's literally like that's where I become an addict. Like, I need to get stuff. Like, if I see something new and I like it, even though I know that it's too expensive, like, I will literally work 3 times harder to get that thing because, like, I just love anything that has to do with gadgets, electronics. I hate wires, though. Everybody always makes fun of me for that. I can't stand wires. Like, if I go to your house and I see a rat nest of fucking cables and coax everywhere, I'll actually say to you, like, yo, Gunter, if you want, I'll clean that shit up for you. And again, because of the tone of my voice, you might not take me honest until you come out and you're like, you know, talking to your wife or whatever, and you're like, that motherfucker's weird. He cleaned the entire laundry room. You know what I mean? So who knows?
That's one of your OCD things.
I hate wires because we live in an age where everything that I buy in the fucking box, it says wireless, and then you still have to plug it in. Like, I just spent, you know, over $2,000 on a Bose audio system. Wireless, mind you, wireless. And as we're taking it out of the box, I'm pulling out more cables and wires than I've ever seen in my life. So I hate wires. I love wireless. I hate wires. Hence the reason why I can't wait till Oculus hurries up and gets us those wireless head units, man.
Santa Cruz, baby.
That's when you're going to hear, like, all right, guys, Vintendo here, falling down the fucking stairs of my Santa Cruz head unit. We're going to take this in baby steps. We're going to try to break one lens and only my cerebellum. All right, guys. Vintendo here. Fuck me. God damn it, Vivian. The bitch has fallen down the stairs again. By the way, and I know it's terrible because I like to do voices. That's one thing that I like to do in my spare time. And I can't do them anymore because in the new world, if you imitate the way somebody speaks, it automatically becomes either shaming or racism, which is so fucking
in the new
sad.
World.
So, yeah, in the new world. But I just realized the other day that by taking the same voice of the Quickie Mart owner of The Simpsons, okay? Yeah. Because you got to word this correctly. If you use that voice and literally speak song lyrics, it is the most amazing thing you've ever heard. You want to try it? Remember our song?
Do I want to?
No, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. So remember this. Okay, remember the song "Go Into the Country, You're Gonna Eat a Lot of Peaches."
Yeah, sure.
Okay, here we go. Watch this. Ready? Yeah, normally go into the country. Okay, here we go. He's going to the country. He's going to eat a lot of peaches. Moving to the country, going to eat a lot of peaches. Peaches come from your chest. They will put it up on your breast or two. Amazing, isn't it? I think I'm on to something.
Beautiful. Yeah, exactly.
I said, you don't want to fuck with Shady because Shady, he will fucking kill you. You know what I'm saying? Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? Please stand up and put one finger on each end up. Amazing. And it works with every song. And like the more better the song is, the funnier it becomes. Like, my friend, I will do anything for love, but I cannot do this. So, but it's not in the new world. It could be offensive, but dear God, whoever's voice sounds like that, I'd hug the shit out of them. I love everybody.
Let's talk about the old world. That kind of sparked it for me. The new world. When did the new world come? We are positioned quite uniquely in our lifespans that we get 1 foot in the old world and 1 foot in this new world, which I think is kind of exciting.
It is. It is if you know how to use it. But for people that don't know how to use this, it could be a little bit scary if everybody's walking around with magic goggles on, and you're sitting there with a pair of Ray-Bans like, I'm not understanding this. Why are they all laughing? Why are they all talking about animation override? I think the new world literally happened when we got tired of our own lives. When we decided that social media was going to turn into a place where not only do you socialize with, people you haven't seen in a while. Oh, shit, look, it's HD Potato. He's on my friends list. Now we're talking. We haven't talked since that incident at the sandbox. Now, that's okay. But when it turned into literally a place where people go to post a social status or the social quo, it becomes different, man. People think very differently these days. Like I said before,
like MySpace.
MySpace started it. You know what I'm saying? It started there. And then little by little, it literally turned into something where, it's commonplace. It's very disturbing, but commonplace, where you saw a video. I'm sure you've seen it too. This was going back about 5-6 months ago. The lady's boyfriend was shot by the police. Remember this? And whatever it was. And she's sitting there streaming it. And I'm thinking to myself, if anybody I loved was ever being killed or harmed or anything weird like that, my phone would literally be the last item that I would think about. I would never be like, oh shit, Gunter's choking. Like, we got to get some hits on Twitter real quick. You know what I'm saying? And then Gunter's turning blue. Okay, well, put a poll up and see if anybody wants to give him the Heine lick maneuver. Okay, I'll put that on there. Hold on. Gunter, hold in there, okay? And it's sad, you know what I'm saying? That's why I say the new world and the old world. Like, we just had that joke where I did that voice and we had a great time doing it, but that could be highly offensive. And not only is it could be offensive, it's the fact that then somebody comes up after that and goes, that's racism, and it adds a little more to it. And,
that's
sometimes
shame.
It's really... if we're going to live in a world where we have to watch and double, triple, quadruple think everything we're about to say, then I might as well not say anything and just listen to you. And I think that's the freedom that we embrace inside of here. And I think that's the God-given liberty that every human on this earth should have. We should have the ability to express ourselves in a manner that won't scare us the second time we go to express ourselves. I'm a firm believer in let me fuck up now And if my intentions are good, I'm going to explain it to you and make up for it.
That made me think a little bit about concerts again, in that the old concerts, you don't see screens everywhere. You don't see people holding up. That's that when you see concerts now live, they're just tons of phones. But if you go watch a show from the late 90s, which recently I discovered some old Tool shows from Ozfest that were
so amazing.
in West Palm Beach that I went to, and I was up in the front. Unfortunately, the video wasn't taken up front, but it's like, wow, so cool. How cool is YouTube, first of all? But yeah, there's no cell phones. There was a mosh pit. It was awesome.
There was also like, you're correct. And just recently, remember who Maisie Starr was?
Yeah.
Fade Into You. Great song. Great. She's awesome, man. I just recently found a live performance. It popped up somewhere in my device, and I watched it. And I said to myself, holy shit. All the people in the audience, kind of like in here, if you think about it, because nobody's using cell phones in here. So it's almost like you see people in the audience and not one person has a cell phone. Not one person is ignoring the person next to them while they type. You know, and trust me, I understand, but I feel the technology should help us make things easier and not lazier. And that's where there is an issue right now. You know, my girlfriend, you know, has 3 kids. When the internet falls out or the Wi-Fi, you know, shuts off for some weird reason, those kids go into full-blown panic. Oh my God, the internet's out. Oh my God, the internet's out. You know, back in the day, if my portable phone, remember my Radio Shack portable phone, if the battery died, I would just walk over to Gunter's house and be like, yo, dude, my phone fucking died while we were talking and shit. But, you know, I just wanted to come over and tell you I got a new football helmet for my little, you know, and then Gunter would tell me to go home, so.
What else from the old world that these young whippersnappers have no idea about? What kind of bad things did you do growing up?
Ooh, what kind of bad things? Never in my entire life have I ever been arrested. I guess I've always been a good talker. I've been the person that wants to watch it, but from a safe distance. So I guess I was, they had a name for me back in the day. What was that shit? We used to eat it all the time. Pussy, that's it. So they used to call me that back in the day. And, you know, I was never really one to get in trouble. I was more the type like, hey, dude, you know, why don't you come over? It's the fucking 90s. Nirvana still sounds good on the radio. So does Soundgarden. Alice in Chains still has new music coming out. Come on over, bring your Doors album, bring that magical pipe. Let's smoke a little bit and laugh until our cheeks hurt. So I was kind of like innocent in that term of it. You know what I'm saying? And back then, you could do something like that. This is what the new world and the old world are lacking in the sense of now you hear about people there's an opioid disaster taking place. You hear about people doing drugs that you can't pronounce the name. You have no idea what ingredients is. It came from a volcano and we all snorted it. You know, and this is killing people. This is fucking killing people. And you know, I really think that we all need to stop for a second here before we get ahead of ourselves and really remember the core function of what creates human. You know, what distinguishes us between an animal that licks its own ass and an animal that changes the universe. Kind of like Gunter. He doesn't lick his own ass, he changes the universe.
I wish I could lick my own ass.
I don't know.
Not gifted.
Yeah, if I could lick my ass, do you understand the amount of people that I would kiss at a bar when I got drunk? just to be an asshole about it. Yeah, I went deep. I went deep on that. Amazing. I used to have that on my hand. That's Tony Danza, isn't it? Hold me closer, Tony Danza.
Oh shit!
Count the headlights on the highway. Is that Tony Danza or is that the Fonzarelli?
Oh, it looks like the Fonz, maybe. Can you come closer, Dude,
Gunther, I just watched all 9 seasons.
Neither. I don't know what that is.
It's neither. Holy shit. Tell me that did not look like Tony Danza, Samantha, Mona from Who's the Boss?
Who's the Boss?
I just watched all 8 seasons of that. It takes 8 seasons for them to finally do something. The entire time, it's Who's the Boss is like the 1980s version of 8 seasons of Blue Balls, pretty much. And then finally, at the end, I think they do it by mistake, like, Angela, I was just trying to dust a shelf. I didn't mean to fall inside of you. Oh, Tony, you know, something like that. Who knows what it is? Mona is the oldest whore in existence. I love that lady. I love her and Blanche from the Golden Girls.
Yep.
Man. Yeah, if I ever was anywhere with nobody would ever find out about it, I'd go with Blanche and Mona, just to go like, I don't know, maybe like to a beach or something. Who knows? You know, show them my animation override and stuff.
Oh, yeah, giggity.
But that's the change, man. That's the change. The change is that, you know, me and you are the generation of here we are now, entertain us. This is the generation of we're bored as fuck. What else is there?
Interesting.
And that's where we come in. That's where we come in. It's up to people like me and people like you and other people that we haven't even met yet.
Wake up.
It's the time to wake up. It's the time to literally say, you might write the rules, but I'm the one that plays.
Very nice. I like that. I think let's end it on that and go through a couple plugs and wrap it up and party on afterwards.
Awesome. Do you think I can launch my animation override because I'm so excited?
Launch it, baby.
Okay, here we go. Let's get some party going real quick. Ready, Gunter?
Here we go.
Everybody, come on. Bring it in. The Manchildshow.com.
We're about to drop the beat. Here we go. Thank you so much, Gunter, for having me on.
Thank you. So, the Manchildshow.com. Find them on Facebook. They're pretty active there. Anybody else? Anywhere else you want to point people to?
You guys can look us up on. You guys can look us up on Twitter and Facebook. You can also go to the Manchildshow.com. We're going to be coming back in about 2 weeks. We come live every Saturday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. You can find us on Facebook where we do a live stream or the high definition version that is posted right after the episode's done on Spreaker.com. The Manchildshow.com. And Gunter, once again, thank you for having me by here. I like this place. I like this speak and spell thing. It reminds me of almost my voice.
It's fucking awesome, isn't it?
W9.
And just a couple announcements from myself, and you'll be very interested in this, Vintendo. There is a VR Chat events Discord. This is separate, not part of VR Chat. Me and Goblox put it together, and it's for people that host events to have their own little section. And so everybody can help each other and share information, and people that are really interested in the events can join and be a part of just being aware of when the events are, or giving suggestions or helping build them if you want to be a part of, like, I want to be a part of one of these shows, but I don't know who to get involved with. If you want to build props or something like that, this is going to be the place.
And also GM3 releasing that video camera system to the public domain.
Yep. This was all kind of part of it. Yep, absolutely. Me, Goblox, GM3. We're very excited about events and seeing the tools come out. Though GM's tools are going to be pumped in here, or actually the kind of another version of this. And I'm really excited, what all of us are going to do with entertaining people, because that it's starting to really exponentially take off.
Maybe we need to come together and make a marathon one time, a 24-hour VR takeover.
I've had the marathon idea a while ago. We're getting there.
Nice.
We can do it, man.
Sounds good.
Fucking awesome.
I want to thank everybody out here. It's been a great crowd. You guys have been awesome, by the way. It really was a great experience. I would love to do this again sometime. You guys are definitely a good crew.
All right, everybody. Love you. I'll see you next week in Gunter Universe. Peace out. What do we got here? Somebody was fishing, so I think that was you.
Oh my god. It's under 18. Get it back
Good times, man. Good times.
Hell yeah, man. Vintendo, thanks a lot, dude.
Thank you again, Gunter. Great time like always, buddy. Great time like always.